So I told Joel, dog, you got to watch yourself. He's trying to hang cabinets. He doesn't have pants on. I don't know what was going on there.
Hey, hold on.
Next thing I know,
naked cabinets.
He's laying on the floor, and
Hello.
the cabinets are on top of him.
All
So
right.
that's why he's not here.
Yeah. Hold Holmes at his finest.
Hold on, Holmes. We lost him to the cabinets. He's been begging. He's been begging for these cabinets for 40 years, and we lost him to the cabinets.
Yeah, that's what he gets.
Are we live?
Bring his butt here.
Oh, Breeze Nation, what's good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rolling with us for another edition of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. We got the squad in the building. Yeah. Little light squad in the building. But squad nonetheless. Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC. And of course, Mr. Drew Better. You knew better. You do better. Say who better? Nobody broke. Bro, I got shocked by this mic again. I swear, if I get shocked this whole show, I'm fighting somebody.
Oh, boy.
And y'all are the only ones here.
Okay.
On today's episode, I have after rewatching the Super Bowl today, I have confirmed in my mind where I think the Bears need to go, either with this 10th overall pick or go focus a heavy amount of money in the offseason, one or the other. We got to talk about that. Talk more about this Super Bowl. Get Drew's perspective on the bowl. He didn't get a chance to chime in on that.
Are they like us?
And I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they could be like us. They could not be like us. But none of us are like Drake.
No, we're definitely
and
not like
I'm okay with that. I'm
None
okay
of
with
us
that. And then
are
maybe a little
Drake,
bit more
right?
conversation
Jesus.
around some trades the Bears could make. All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
No.
Everybody good? Everybody great? Everybody recovered?
No, I'm good. I'm
No,
recovered.
You want to know what?
It's been a rough day.
Yeah, me and Drew kind of on the same way.
Really?
Here.
Oh, I had a great day.
You want to know what it is? And I don't know. This is maybe it's just 30 plus for me. It might not be like all of us for everybody, right? But for me, 30 plus, bro, listen, I can enjoy a good amount of drinks and not get a hangover. But that next day is just so groggy, dog.
I see what
Like
you're
I'm
saying.
just all day, I just don't wanna. I'm not gonna lie to you. I almost want to be done drinking for that reason. Like my problem is not that I don't like.
Wow, what a state, what a hole.
My problem is not that I don't enjoy drinking and that like I'm getting drunk and like I'm losing myself and doing wild stuff. My problem is like that next day just sucks for me right
It's
now.
long.
It's like
It's a long day, bro.
It's not necessary. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Now, but hey, maybe that's why I had a good time. I didn't drink too much. Oh no, you know what? I always drink water at the end of the occasion. I had a couple. I had a couple Long Islands, maybe rum and Coke, and a couple other drinks.
That Long Island dangerous, dog. It'll get you where you want to go.
Whoever mixed those dang Long Islands at that spot, it was a little heavy-handed.
That was my girl Allie. My girl Allie, she hooked us up.
Girl Allie hooked me up a lot.
She hooked us up.
I was just saying. That's why I drink water before I had to drive.
You're dangerous, man.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, man, we got a lot to get into on the show, so I'm going to. This may be a hot take for some. But what we saw yesterday in the Super Bowl, the conversation for me about this offseason, not that it shifted completely, but I think you need to do SHIFT. Okay. We're good.
All right.
What I think you need to do, though, is go either all in on the offensive side of free agency, which I think would be a good plan for the Chicago Bears. And if you do that, with that 10th overall pick, I'm doing whatever I can to get to a spot to try and get the best defensive player in the draft. What we saw yesterday was, as Mike Tyson would call it, pure and utter domination.
Man, Chiefs were definitely cheeks. Chiefs were definitely cheeks in the first half. Jesus.
When I saw, and here's why though. Here's why I have this take, because I know people are going to be on the opposite side of this. Go offensive line. How do you not draft any offensive line? You need to sign 2 offensive linemen and add one. Who what was the key factor of both teams in the Super Bowl this year?
What was their defense that got them there?
Mm-hmm.
Defense was solid.
Last year, the two teams that were in the Super Bowl, what was the key factor of both teams in the Super Bowl?
Right.
Defense did too.
The year before that, when it was Philly and Kansas City, what was the key factor of both teams there?
Defense again.
When the Rams, when the Rams end up beating the Bengals in the Super Bowl, what was the final play of the game?
Oh, it was a defensive stop.
Aaron Donald up the middle.
Yep.
Hits Burrow late. Burrow can't get the throw off to an absolute dart that would have landed in Jamar Chase's hands.
Yeah. Well,
I think the last Super Bowl with offense, wasn't it the
Chiefs.
Patriots?
It was the Chiefs.
No, but it was like a really high scoring, like 40-something to 40.
I think Chiefs had one in there. I think Pat Mahomes' first one was with Tyreek. They were just blowing the doors off people offensively. But I say all that to say, my big thing with building the trenches is not to ignore one side of the ball. Again, this should be an and off season, not an or off season.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that you need to take massive swings. And massive swings for me would be either moving up, if Abdul Carter is one of those top 5 from some of the stuff that I'm hearing.
Getting tingly.
From some of the stuff that I'm hearing, he may be a top 3, top 1 pick. You may not be able to move that high up. But swing big in whatever you do. If it's signing somebody this offseason, if it's trading for somebody, the defense is so important to winning. And every single year we talk about these fun offenses, these amazing offenses, and they're usually not the ones in the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow made a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow this season also was putting up 50-point games that he lost. The offense was there. And I'm not saying neglect the offense. In this scenario, right, where you go defense 10, you sign Trey Smith. You sign Drew Dahlman. You invest heavily in your offensive line financially. You're probably still investing in the second and third rounds in your offensive line. But with that top pick in the draft, I'm doing whatever I can to get a guy like a Mason Graham. I'm doing whatever I can to get a guy like a Prince Amulialuna, Prince Anemone. He'll be a second round pick. But Abdul Carter, right? Those top guys. I'm doing everything that I can to get them.
Yeah.
Because I see the theme, and I feel like the Chiefs' early years have turned us into this world where we think defense don't win championships anymore.
I like that. I like that idea that we're kind of going back to what ultimately makes a team successful, and it's stopping people from scoring rather than putting up just a bunch of points. I mean, we've seen that all over sports, but committing back to a defensive-minded team is definitely the key. And I mean, to correlate with it, like we just got Ben Johnson, right? And so he comes from the Detroit Lions as being known as one of the best offensive minds in the league. You've seen the stats, you've seen the rankings with the Lions and what they've done. But when they got to the playoffs, what failed them? It was their defense that they didn't have on the field.
Yeah.
It was the lack of them being able to stop Jaden Daniels and the Commanders at all. And so they put up enough points, but they couldn't stop the other team from putting up even more points. And so the key is, hey, we got to make sure that going into this offseason, like you said, it's not it's an and. We can actually kind of get a little greedy here and maybe go now. I did say I would love to trade up for Mason Graham or an Abdul Carter. I do see a lot of boards that say Abdul Carter might even go 1.
Right, he might be the number 1.
He might go 1 if a team is like, these quarterbacks.
It might be Tennessee.
Mid. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. He may be going, and maybe the trade value is a little too high as far as getting that high. But I mean, you want to go Mason Graham, and I'm hearing there's a name, Mike Green, that might be rising up boards. Defensive guy that is like really, really a late riser. There's a lot of names here that if you're talking about addressing the defensive side of the trenches, I'm fine with doing that first. The point is we got to address the trenches, period.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we start with offensive line or defensive line. That's where we have to start addressing it, period. So if we go into the offseason, if we go into free agency, and again, like I said, we talk about Trey Smith, for whatever reason people think that his stock has pivoted or plummeted rather just because of one game. I don't believe that. and Mekhi Becton's has risen just because they won. My thing is get somebody that's obviously good at that position, and then we can address whatever else that we need in the draft. But I don't know. We'll see.
What you think, Drew?
Man, I'm thinking that I understand your logic. I love defensive person right there. But if we can't get Abdul Carter, then my second most important need is
Mason
offensive
Graham
line.
is a dog, though. If you can get up, you would have to trade up for both of them.
I know
Mason Graham is disgusting.
He is, but he is he that Myles Garrett? Is he, that guy that's going to get you that double digit sacks?
He's probably a he's interior. I'm trying to think of
was he like a,
because he's
like
not
Aaron
I was gonna say Aaron Donald, but that's crazy.
But
he's not Aaron Donald.
Is he like a
Chris Jones, Quentin Williams?
Is he like a Nada?
He's like a Chris Jones. He's like a Chris Jones.
So he's that
he can't get
guy.
you those sack numbers.
He's like the 8 sack guy.
So
but I'm
him
still
up with Javon Dexter.
Yeah.
You think about that youth moving forward together in the interior, him and Javon?
I see it and I like it, but I'm more leaning toward keeping Caleb off the ground. So I'm going tackle first.
Yeah.
I'm going O-line first. But I love your idea, and it's a hot take, and it's really better than that other take we did last week was running back at 10, which is crazy. But
can I interest you in that?
If you gave me a stud defensive player at 10, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad. But I prefer to go O-line.
I think the thing for me is you kind of see the theme, and no matter what, it's about getting blue chip players. I don't care what player you select realistically. As long as in year 2 I go, oh, he's one of the best at his position in this league. He's a dog, right? You went away from that position multiple times, and a lot of the guys that we have taken are not dogs, right? With Rome Odunze, I love Rome, and I think he's going to be this really good wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, and I think he's going to have this great career here in Chicago. You know what I know? Jared Verse is the rookie defensive player of the year.
Yeah,
I know it.
Yeah, he's a
he's a monster.
Roman's gonna be the third. He's gonna be one of the third-year wide receiver guys, the one that blossoms in his third year.
He could be that guy next year, right? Realistically speaking, as far down as we have Rome right now, Rome was the only one of the receivers on that list that was a third option.
Yeah,
but if Rome's your second option coming into this season, right? I think it's a little bit different. But you had these options available to you for you to go in on the defensive side of the trenches, and you were scared. Jalen Carter, we scared. We don't want to take him. We don't know if we have the infrastructure to deal with a Jalen Carter.
Right.
We don't have the veterans in place to deal with a Jalen Carter.
I wanted him bad.
Yeah, Jalen Carter looks like a monster yesterday.
He does.
And if you had Jalen Carter, Montez Sweat, and Jared Verse, yeah,
that's ugly.
That's what. And by the way, and what you got out of it is you still have Montez Sweat, but you got Rome Odunze, who there are some question marks on right now. Not to say he can't be good, and you have Darnell Wright, who there's a ton of question marks on. And so for me, it's like I just. If you're going to go all in, you need to find a blue chip guy there. And that's what this offseason and this draft needs to be about, getting a blue chip guy.
I see a lot of people saying at number 10 that, if we don't go for those big guys, or even if we can't trade too far up and get a Mason Graham or a Abdul Carter, would you care about moving back because maybe the tackles that are going to be there aren't necessarily tackles, they're guards, and that there's no one valuable enough? Because I've always talked about, I put out the name Josh Simmons from Ohio State, but he's injured. So had he not been injured, I think that he would have been the number 1 tackle, and he would have been deserving of a top 10 pick. It's talking about BPA best player available. But do you go the other route and just kind of stash picks and pick up more prospects in the later rounds, get you a blue chip player, maybe a tackle or a one of those edge rushers that are kind of in the second tier, like a Mikael Williams. There's a couple of other names.
Prince Amuliali.
Prince Amuliali Ding Dong.
We gotta learn his name, bro. It's so bad.
Umalu.
Umalu Miam. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, We have a number of directions we can go. My thing is, let's just go about this smart. If we can't move up and get a guy that will be a huge game record, game changer, then, stash picks where you have to evaluate a guy like a McHale, like a Nick Scorton. That's what I was thinking of, and move forward with that. But again, this is why this offseason is so pivotal. This is why, you mentioned it's not the or, it's and. We have to address everything in a sense. I understand. Where do we start? Do we start with defense? Do we start with offense? Drew, I hear you with you saying maybe the offensive line because you're tired of seeing Caleb sitting on his backside and then he accounted for 17 of the sacks, but then what was it 51
of the sacks.
60. Yeah, 51 of the other sacks was on the line. Like I'm with you on that, but at the same time, is the tackle position valuable enough in the draft where you stay at 10 and you pick a Will or a Kelvin Banks Jr., but then you still have to slide them inside because of their size?
I mean, I think for me, it's about is it a game changer piece, right? Like Quentin Nelson is a guard, and he was taking it 3.
Well, yeah,
Quentin Nelson, but that's the thing, and that's the evaluation part of it, right? Is Will Campbell Quentin Nelson? I don't think he's Quentin Nelson.
No.
But I'm also not sitting there doing the draft eval and doing all the and getting to meet the kid and being in the room. When I'll tell you this, he's aggressive as heck. He's a monster.
Yeah.
He's an absolute savage on the line. Now he got shorter arms.
I mean, he's guarded.
He's got shorter arms, probably a guard, but I don't know. See, that's the other thing, though. I don't know that because while yes, you want the long-armed assassin out there on the left side at tackle.
Yeah.
If he gets to his spot quick enough, he's got great footwork. If he gets to his spot quick, if he gets the arms out, if he can set the edge with that left hand jab, like those are the things that you have to take a look at as well. Where you say this guy, maybe the measurables aren't perfect, but he overcomes those measurables because of how aggressive he is. But to me, it's like, even if that is the case, like you have to find a blue chip player no matter what.
So I'm a question. So with your options, what is going to translate to more wins in your opinion starting a rookie?
Here's to me, if you add a legitimate Jared Verse kind of player, a person who will impact the defense immediately, pass rush or edge rusher or interior player, you will put your offense in so many good positions that it will be a better situation for you than drafting the tackle. And this is not to say don't address the offensive line. I'm not telling you don't address. I'm telling you to address it with money. I got money.
Plenty.
Take it.
Give it to
address it with money.
Yeah.
Pay for it. I'm sorry. One game of Trey Smith getting worked out a little bit versus Jalen Carter.
I'm not worried. Yeah. I'm not worried.
Does not sway me at all.
That happens. Yeah, everybody is a bad
he picked on everybody. It just wasn't Smith. It just wasn't Smith. He moved around a little bit.
Well, yeah, Jalen Carter was just a game record yesterday. But like I'm not worried about one game. Yeah, like yes, it was the biggest game. Yes, he should have played better. Yes, he didn't do well enough, and that's why Patrick Mahomes was on his back. That also plays in that part where you say, okay, well, let's look at the other 5 guys out there. They suck.
They tackles was the issue. They
suck.
They tackles was just bad
all day. Not even one of them isn't even a tackle. But it's like when you look at yes, Trey Smith had a tough matchup versus Jalen Carter. I've also watched Trey Smith versus tough matchups all season. Look like that dude that everybody was like, oh, we're willing to pay him $25 million. And because of one game versus one of the best in the game,
yeah, you gotta stop.
We're all out on him. Like I'm not there. I can't follow you down that logic.
No, it's too soon for that.
But I do think that if you want to talk about somebody hitting in the draft and you go get a Mason Graham or you go get a Abdul Carter or like one of those guys that does impact immediately, I think that you're in a situation next season where you could be a playoff team.
Here's how I would answer your question, Drew. It would be starting with the question: Go back to last season. The games that we were in, we only won 5, but we were in
12,
4 or 5 games.
No, besides that, we were in about 12 games altogether. A couple of us.
No. I mean the games that we lost.
Oh,
like how many? We were obviously in the Washington game. We know they'll marry. We were in a few games where we had to block field goal from Green Bay. We were in the game. I want to say there was a handful of games that we were in.
We were in all the divisional games.
Came down
except for the one Detroit.
Yes.
We're in all the divisional games except for the one Detroit game.
So there had to be about 4 or 5 games that came down to the wire. It came down to the actual last minute, drive or last couple of minutes of the game. What would you say lost to those games? Obviously, outside of the poor coaching and the malpractice of that, what would you say lost to those games? Would you say it was the defense or was it the offense? Because a lot of times I saw Caleb drive us down the field and get us in a position to win. So would you say it was on the defense more on the offense, us losing?
I think what I would say is that it's not one versus the other. I think it was a combination, but our lack of pass rush did not help us at all. And I've always asked for some defensive line help, but I was looking to get that with our second pick in the second round. But like I said, if we can move up a few spots and get one of those 2 blue chip defensive players, then I'm good with it. I don't want it, but I'll be acceptable to it.
You'll be happy with it. Yeah. So that the reason why I say that is because had we had another prospect or another blue chip player on that defensive line, could we have won 8, 9 games? And then the season looks totally different, despite the lack of protection and the 30,000 hits that Caleb took this year. So my thing is, okay, well, if that's the case, then maybe we do address that first. That's the priority. And then, you go into, the other areas to try and get your guard, your tackle and free agency, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. My big thing with all of it is if you get whatever it is, it has to be an impact, right? That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
If you get an impact player though on the defensive side of the ball,
makes everybody better.
It makes everybody on that defense better.
Facts.
If you get an opposite pass rusher, to Montez Sweat now gets to be Montez Sweat. If you get, Javon Dexter and Andrew Billings, if we end up, re-signing Billings and all that stuff, right? That's a tandem there on the pass rush side. Hopefully you're able to fix some things with the run. There's also some development that's going to have to take place with Dennis Allen here that clearly was not happening with Matt Eberflus here. I think when you look at your DBs, we saw what happened. We've seen here in Chicago what happened when you added Khalil Mack and all of a sudden Kyle Fuller is a Pro Bowl level DB. Like, what does that do to Tyreek Stevenson? What does that do to Jaquan Brisker? What does that do? I mean, those are the things that I look at, because here's the part that people don't talk about. Adding to the defense helps you on the offensive side.
Facts. Turnovers.
What in 2018 made Mitch's life so easy?
Turnovers.
That short field had him. He was just like, I just got to hand this football off or flip it up to Tariq Cohen on a screen pass or just do a little whoop right there. And the turnover season that the Bears had made Mitch Trubisky's life easier. Imagine that with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that would be a completely different conversation.
Whenever we have a good defense, we always are in the playoffs, if not close to the Super Bowl. So
I don't know about that. We've had a lot of good defenses.
No,
we
didn't
make the Super Bowl.
No, I said close. When we have those we have lost in the playoffs, where it's like a bounce here, bounce there, we move things differently. But when we have our top 10 defense, we're usually in the playoffs, if not close, a player or two away from potentially being a Super Bowl. So I like your defense. I like your defense.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's
and I think here's the big thing. It's not something to me that you would regret if it hits.
Not
and I think this is kind of where Bears fans are. We're just so sick of that being our identity. We want to get into this offensive league. We want to get into the high passing yards, the 4,000 yard passer. How many passing yards did the Super Bowl champion quarterback throw for this season?
He didn't. He won a few games with like 120 yards.
2,900 yards.
Let's say he won a lot of games with low yardage.
Yeah.
2,900 yards. By the way, the other quarterback who's on the other side, who is a generational guy,
wow,
had a very bad season this year by his standards.
18 touchdowns. Yeah, you're right.
Now, that's not what I want Caleb Williams to be.
You're already better than that.
That's not what I want Caleb Williams to have to do. Yeah. But my thing is, you're still helping Caleb. You're still investing in the offensive line. You're still probably going to draft offensive linemen in the second round, I would assume. But if you can get somebody who's just a game wrecker or just like Mason Graham to me, I mean, like just the pressure up the middle.
What's his tentative draft position?
Oh,
he'll probably go 5 or 6.
5, 6,
probably
7,
5,
yeah.
6. Depending on how the quarterbacks fall. There's always a quarterback that gets in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely the first interior guy going. Yeah.
But again, it's not I'm not saying you can't invest in the offense, but I feel like Bears fans are so just please get us an offense. Please, I need an offense, that they would rather see the Bengals than the Eagles.
I mean, I get that. I understand Bears fans have gone through a tumultuous time with just like we have to keep living off of this black and blue, type of play where it's you got to get the meaty running back that's going to give you the hard yardage, and you run your way to a victory, and you have the hard-nosed defense that's going to stop this team and stop quarterbacks when they need to, and you win an ugly game 17-13, but you still win. Of course, we want to see points. Points look glorious. Points look fun. Points are exciting. It's explosive. You want to see explosive plays. I still think we can do that. But I think in order to allow that to happen, you have to realize that maybe defense does come first. And I shouldn't even say maybe. Having a great defense does come first in order to make your offense look even better. As you just said, Mitch Trubisky looked great. Do you think that Caleb Williams, with an even greater defense and a better protection on O-line, would be way leaps and bounds better than a Mitch Trubisky? I mean, it would probably look really, really fun if they shortened the field and Caleb just had to throw 30 yards just to get in field goal range, let alone the red zone. So my thing is, yes, you do have to try and address defense. It doesn't look cute. It doesn't look pretty. But at the end of the day, as we always know, that's what wins you the game at the end of the day.
And that's what keeps winning Super Bowls, dog.
Yep.
That's what keeps winning Super Bowls. It's like, I think here's the tough part, right? You do need the quarterback.
You do need. He needs to be capable.
We can sit here and JC was kind of tweaking this morning with I ain't
gonna
with
lie.
that tape. That was crazy.
My statement if I can.
That was crazy. Nope, that's on you. You did that. That's your take for the year. We need a take board. That's what we need to do with this wall. We need to just start putting takes up here and see how long till they become bad takes.
Like, who's had some bad ones this year? I know I just said the one with 2 is better than Jaylon.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was insane this morning.
I don't know why I thought that, guy.
But that was a bad tape, bro. But I think that you need the great QB to win, right? Yeah. You need the Tom Brady. You need the Patrick Mahomes. You need and I'll throw Jalen Hurts in there. You need it.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
No, you do.
You don't. You won with Trent Dilfer. People have won with old boy from Baltimore. What's the boy name?
Joe
6'5" Flacco.
Yeah. And Foles.
Yeah, but Joe Flacco also had one of the
greatest. You won with Eli Manning.
Joe Flacco also had one of the greatest playoff heaters of all time, and so did Eli Manning.
Eli
Manning was elite.
They don't need to be great. They just need to be good.
No, because I think here's the thing: you do need them to be great because, like yesterday, if Jalen Hurts, now they dominated in so many different ways. You probably could have won just off the Cooper DeJean pick, but shout out to the white DB for being back.
He was good.
If Jalen Hurts doesn't play the way he played, then you might be talking differently about today's outcome.
Yeah.
You needed him to have the game that he had for you to win that game. Now, maybe not that specific game, but for you to win the whole thing, because Saquon was shut down 52 yards.
Yeah.
You needed him to be the running option for you, or you weren't going to have a run game. 72 yards from Jalen Hurts. By the way, dual threat quarterbacks can win.
Yes. Finally clap it up.
Oh, dang time. We've known that for a while, but
listen, we may have known it, but it hasn't actually happened.
It had to happen for the owners to finally say, okay, yes, I can win.
We need to invest.
I can win with the dual threat.
Oh, listen, that's just fans. Let's not blame the owners. That's just fans.
No, the owners still think the prototypical quarterback was in existence for a long time.
Hey,
that
my
mindset.
guy, here's the problem with that. Pat Mahomes runs. Josh Allen runs. Lamar Jackson runs.
But I think
Pablo, you're
Hurts,
right. Pablo, right. Nobody gives Steve Young credit for how much he ran too. But you know, like
because they
there's
ran
a ton of almost every dual threat quarterback.
No, because they ran, but it's different because they preferred to stay in the pocket compared to me being a dual threat. Because Steve Young, yeah, he ran, but he still.
You're saying he didn't lead with running,
right?
I don't know. Steve Young was off platform a lot. Steve Young game was a lot of get out and run and scramble.
But it was about bootlegs and stuff like that. He ran. Don't get me wrong. He ran, but to me, the dual threat is kind of like, Lamar.
Lamar's the obvious one,
right? Lamar is Lamar. Michael Vick was the dual threat. You had
See, that's the thing, though. It's a difference between mobile QBs and dual threat QBs.
Right, which is why I think some of your things are mobile.
I would say most of those guys are mobile. Steve Young, I guess I would give mobile. I would give Steve Young mobile. I think Jalen Hurts is dual threat.
Exactly.
And looked dual threat yesterday.
The whole purpose of saying they're a threat is that they have a chance to beat you with the legs when they need to. Jalen Hurts is not going to outrun a lot of people, but he has enough speed.
Jalen Hurts got some speed on him now.
He's a
Jalen Hurts had a couple of years where the speed went away. I think he got healthy.
It did.
I don't know what had. He was running sometimes.
Did he have a quad or
I don't know what it
knee
was.
Or something?
He had some ugly years where I was like, oh my God, dude, like his whole speed is gone.
I guess.
And I watched him yesterday take off, and I was like, oh, it's back.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is I guess what I'm saying is he's not a home run hitter type, like where you expect him to kind of maybe run away from the defense. But what he did yesterday was important. Is that he got the chains going. He got the chains moving. He kept getting first downs.
Yeah. 3rd and 5 first down. 3rd and 7 first down.
Got down.
3rd and 3 first down.
Like that's what it was important versus a Lamar Jackson who can actually run away from you, pick up more yardage.
Who that's most of the game plan.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I guess when we're talking about dual threat quarterbacks, yes, they've won in the league, but I guess the ones we're really rooting for are the ones that are more they have more ability to run, like your Justin Fields is, like your Lamar Jacksons, even your Josh Allens. I think that's where we want to give credit to it, but it's happened before, and this year it's happening.
But I think this gives gives your boy Fields. They're gonna look at him a little bit. They're gonna look at somebody's gonna give him another chance. They're gonna give him another chance
because another chance.
He's gonna get another chance because how Hurts looked, and it was like, well, yes, 72 yards running, and I only need you to be passed for like 150 to 200, and you can get me to the Super Bowl. People are gonna look at him more because Justin is the type of running quarterback like Hurts is, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's better.
If he's a better runner.
We're talking mobility.
He's a better runner.
Yeah,
he's a better runner.
Yeah.
Nah, man, listen, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this offseason plays out. It's going to be very interesting to see if the Bears actually spend the money that we think they're going to spend, because that's where it starts for me. The defensive conversation is great only if you go all in on the
got to.
And I'm going to be real with you. Trey Smith is
two.
not going to be cheap. You know what pissed me off yesterday in the Super Bowl? I watched that game, and I rewatched it today. And if anybody's pockets got hurt, to me it was McDuffie. And Duffy's been a dog all season. He's been a dog all season.
Why do you say that? Because
when you look at what Pat needs, it's not Trent McDuffie.
Mm-hmm. It's right.
And no matter what, it's all about what Pat needs.
Yeah, agreed.
We can talk about, you got Chris Jones, you got this, and it helps the defense and it makes it better. It's all about what Pat needs.
I see what you did there. It's about what Pat needs.
It's always about what Pat needs.
They come to see Pat, remember? So it's all about
come
Pat
to see
needs.
Pat.
I'm out of here.
It's all about what Pat needs. Yeah. You think this show would last a week with you and Jason, they got it twisted out here.
No, that's hilarious.
That you would have started.
But you're right. He didn't play. You're right. He didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have a horrible game.
Who, Pat?
Yeah.
No, Pat had a horrible game.
I didn't say he horrible.
Yeah,
he had a bad game. He wasn't horrible.
Who was he throwing to when he threw that pick
six
to Cooper DeJean?
Horrible game. He threw it straight to Zach Bond.
No. I'm talking about McDuffie. My bad. McDuffie.
Oh, you're talking about McDuffie.
Yeah, McDuffie.
I was about to say. I was like, no, Pat had a horrible game.
I'm talking about McDuffie. McDuffie didn't have a horrible game.
Not at all.
It was bad, but it wasn't horrible.
No, I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's about are you really about to let Trey Smith
and add another hole to your offensive line?
Walk out the door? Are you really about to let him just walk out the door?
Better not walk out that door.
If I'm the GM and I'm looking at the DB who's phenomenal. He's great. He's amazing. Maybe the Bears will sign him. I hope not. We got one of those.
No, we got DB already.
And Jaylon Johnson. Jaylon Johnson go get to follow people around this year.
I'll get rid of Stevenson.
Oh, yeah? Oh, he does.
Jaylon Johnson
because Dennis Allen does that.
this year.
Dennis Allen does.
I can't wait to see
that.
Time. I can't wait. He said I'm shadowing Muzz all game. But oh my goodness. But it's just like
it exposed what you needed to.
I watched that game and I was like, "There's no way they're about to let Trey Smith walk out that door."
No, because it creates another hole for KC's issue because they already got two holes at tackles.
Yeah,
and then now you'll get they're basically the Bears now. You got tackle, you got three linemen that you need, just like the Bears. We need three linemen, so they're definitely not gonna do that because he's healthy. Yeah, they're not gonna let him go. What's our backup plan now, though?
I mean, for the Bears,
yeah,
that's where it gets dangerous, though. That's why I say, like, my plan is you got to outpay everybody.
Yeah.
If Trey Smith is there and they say we're gonna give him $22 million, you got to say we'll give him 26.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No,
I don't like bidding wars.
Now, and everybody's right. Everybody's right. Everybody in the chat saying can the salary cap do that? Can you do it with the salary cap? Listen, I keep telling y'all this. Right? They don't. The Chiefs don't. They don't have the money.
Oh, you talking about the Bears?
I'm talking about the Chiefs. They don't have the money. But here's the thing. We've seen some stuff in this league, right? Let's not pretend like we ain't seen where like they have no shot at keeping them. And then there's these random collective restructures that are worked out perfectly. And there's some under the table deal. And the Dodgers come in and pay a portion of the contract. And, you know what I mean? We've seen
it is because we
have seen some stuff where it's like, look, how's Dallas keep paying people?
They restructure.
We literally all are about to sit here and go, Micah Parsons wants to trade. He probably wants out of there. Or there's been talks of a trade. He don't want to trade. There's been talks of a trade. Does he want out of there? And it's just like with every year where we go, oh, it's just a ploy to get paid. But they don't have the money to pay him. Then they find a way to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
And we just expect it to work.
Agreed. But because they said, they said KC has money for one of the two, not both. So, like you said,
they don't have money to sign both McDuffie and Smith,
and so it's one of the two. But like you said, with the Super Bowl being played out the way it is, and that line looking bad as it was, they cannot afford to not pay Trey Smith whatever he wants to stay.
I don't know. Bro. I don't know. 26 million. I mean, that is a lot of amount. It's too much. I'm willing to go back and forth. If you want to play that game, I'm willing to play that game with you. You want to go back and forth?
No.
I'll get up to 28.
This monopoly bidding all over again. No.
You want to know what would upset me about it though is it means you have no faith that you can find one. It means you have no faith in your draft evaluation. That upsets me. And I think in that situation, right, you probably are looking at now the Bears do have a little bit of a upper hand, right? He played next to Darnell Wright for a couple of years. He's in Tennessee, right? He's got a relationship with Ryan Poles already. I was
about to say, wasn't he part of the draft?
He was a part of that.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles was a part of the front office that drafted him. There's some kind of a relationship there from what we've been told. So there are things that play into Trey Smith coming here.
But does that?
But am I gonna leave Pat Mahomes?
Yeah, and $6 million, $6 million
for an extra $4 million bucks?
Yeah, I don't think so. We ain't gonna leave the Bears
who always effing up.
Right, we in the Super Bowl every year and $4 million. No, I'm staying.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, I've already won. So he has
won.
At the end of the day, I've won 2 Super Bowls already. as a Chiefs player. So I mean, if you go somewhere else, it's not like you've left something unturned, or you've left something behind where you feel like you didn't do as much, you didn't accomplish as much. They've already accomplished.
I'm gonna say something though. Tyreek Hill,
okay.
He left for the bag, and is unhappy because he's not winning. I see that in a lot of NFL players, not even NFL, a lot of sports players, period. That I got the bag, but I'm unhappy. My love for the game is gone. And so I need a fresh start because this losing organization, we're hoping the Bears are no longer going to be losing organization, but a losing situation compared to where I'm in the playoffs every year, guaranteed, and I have a shot at the Super Bowl almost every year. That's worth a few $1 million.
And it depends on what it's worth to him, right? For Tyreek, have y'all ever heard when Tyreek got his contract extension, what he said to his agent? Because he told his agent when he got the deal redone with the Dolphins, he said, "Bro, don't get me traded. Last time you tried to play hardball, you got me traded." Because the Chiefs was like, "All right, we're not gonna match that price," and they traded him like the next day. So he literally was just like, "Bro, like I didn't want to get traded. Last time you played hardball, you got me traded, dog." Like, so Tyreek didn't want to leave.
He never wanted to, right?
But because of how his agent handled the negotiation, it got him up out of KC. I always thought that was funny because everybody was always like, Tyreek wanted to get out of there and he chased the bag. And really, he was like, "Give me my money." And then the Chiefs was like, no, and traded him the next day.
This is what you get. Yeah.
You know what you get? Out of here. That's what you get, buddy. Thought you were getting that paper, did you? Enjoy Tua.
Wow, no, not Tua. Come on, bad take on me. I know.
That's how we treating JC's take.
Dang.
Take that with you.
I'm trying to figure out why did I feel that way this morning.
You were sleeping.
Felt like it was
after
effects
of
the Super Bowl.
Not even after effects. I can tell you why.
What?
Real simple. Tua is a more pure passer, and that's what you value in a quarterback. That's why you pick.
I do like Tua's ability and his
why.
potential. And I think that's why a lot of times when he started like naming those quarterbacks, I was like, Tua has the potential to be really, really good on a team like a Philly. He was really good with the team with Miami. Miami doesn't have the complete team that a Philly does.
Right,
so
no defense. They can't play in the cold. They can't play in the cold. That's Miami's problem. They can't play in the cold.
Miami can't play in the cold at all.
But I mean, Tua's been battle tested. But my thing is okay. I might have been eating my words with that, but whatever.
Lamont coming hard against Tua. Jesus. No, man. I do wonder if there's going to be an opportunity for the Bears to actually get to Trey Smith. Like if I'm the Chiefs GM, I like what
if they won, I said no.
I like what the Scrolls said. In the Scrolls has talked about it in a couple of comments on here. He's like, if they pay Trey Smith, they'll have holes that they won't be able to address the holes that got exposed last night. I understand that.
Yeah,
the tackles are massive holes.
They are,
but the Chiefs do one thing really well.
They draft well.
They draft really well. Now they haven't drafted tackle well.
No, I told you they
haven't drafted tackle well. So is that a fear? Is that a concern? Do you want to? And realistically speaking, with the cap space you got, even if you pay McDuffie, where are you going to address those tackles? You're going to the draft.
Going back to the draft.
So if I'm going to the draft anyway,
I think they feel.
Why wouldn't I keep a guy on the offensive line and then try and find those guys on the outside? Again, I would love to see Trey Smith hit free agency and the Bears be able to get him for $20-25 million.
I don't, because I believe they're going to keep him because of how bad the Super Bowl was.
Yeah, it looked horrible.
And they hit really well on their defensive backs, because the one guy, I forget his name, last year, they let him go and he was all pro for them. They drafted McDuffie. He's all pro for them. So they have a good track record with drafting defensive backs. So I think definitely they're going to keep Smith and let McDuffie go and do another one. Because if you think about it, they drafted like 2 or 3 rookies last year that worked out well in KC's backfield. That's why they had a good defense last year. So I think that's happening all over again.
By the way, we also, I keep seeing this comment, C. Ruby said, and I've seen a few people say this, not just him, but he said, but not tackles at all. They signed Taylor, and he's been horrible his entire time at KC, leading the NFL in flags and a bunch of other stuff. That's not good. 100%. that don't mean you stop trying.
No,
that don't mean you stop trying, because for every miss that you get, every now and then you do find a dude in the 6th round like Trey Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you sometimes you have to find that guy in the 6th round like Trey Smith. Sometimes you have to find that guy, and I think if you're focused on, if it's more of your focus, I think they were trying to get another Tyreek Hill, and that was their big swing this year, and so they end up with Xavier Worthy this year. Xavier Worthy was nice, but
they are going to look good with Rice back next year.
I don't get
gonna
why
look good with Rice next year.
They're going to look good anyway.
They're going to look good with Rice.
Andy Reid, I loved all the people sitting there just like, Andy Reid had this horrible Super Bowl, and I'm like, Pat Mahomes throwing it a lot to the other team really hurts you in that mug, dog. Like, I don't know if I'm blaming Andy Reid there, but I think that for me, like, when looking at the trenches, like, if it's the Bears situation and we in the Super Bowl and it looks that bad, I'm not letting the only dude that looked talented walk out the door.
Exactly. That's why I said that. She's not gonna let him go.
And I love McDuffie, but like, it sounds bad. DBs, they're not a dime a dozen, but you can find them. And I'll tell you this, it'll be a lot easier to find another Trent McDuffie than it will be to find another Trey Smith.
Exactly.
Bears do a good job of that. I mean, here's a name that I mentioned before, and I'm looking up just the comparables to Trey Smith and Mekhi Becton on the 5th. Mekhi's contract is up. He only had a 1-year deal with Philly. A lot of people are saying that he rose his stock rose yesterday.
He did.
Now that, I mean, I'm not going off of one game. I'm not that type of guy that says that I feel like somebody is just complete trash just because they might have got taken advantage of. Was the biggest game of the year, but still, I feel like Trey Smith is still Trey Smith. However, if you look at the matchup, the overall grade for this season, Trey Smith is 14th overall for tackle or for guards.
Yeah.
Mekhi Becton is 21st overall with a 75.2 overall grade. Same age. Mekhi Becton's more of a massive of a man. He's 6'7", 363 pounds. So I mean, if you don't win out on Trey Smith, you can get a guy like Mekhi Becton for maybe even cheaper.
He scares me.
Here's the problem with both of them. He's got the knee injury history though.
Not even that.
But here's the problem with both of them. Why are they leaving?
Well,
like I keep asking this. Like the two dudes we're talking about just played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now
Mekhi
Trey is a different situation. Yeah. Trey is there may not be enough money for you.
Yeah, Mekhi didn't do too well in the Jets. That's why he signed a 1-year prove-it deal.
Yeah. But now he gonna get the bag. Why would if I am Philly and I just watched how this offensive line together gave Saquon Barkley all season 2 yards before he had to get to the line of scrimmage, why am I letting him go?
Because you can't pay everybody. Same with the Chiefs. Can't pay everybody. If it ain't no money there, ain't no money there.
But Philly is smart about one thing. They pay them trenches.
Yeah.
They pay them trenches. Philly don't do that whole. I like how I turned that into like it was a third person thing. Philly don't play that. Philly don't play that. Philly don't play that. Philly go out there. Philly get the job done. Philly play game.
No, that is a good point.
I don't see why these guys would hit. And again, back to the original point, right? Back to the original topic that we started with, why I would go defense in the first round. It is because I would hope that the Bears are paying big to get one of those guys. If you can't, I don't know if you can go defense in that first round. Yeah. Put yourself in a position where you can take the biggest swing that you need to take.
Free agent dictates everything.
It dictates everything.
There it is. That's the key.
It dictates everything.
That is the key.
That's a good point, Baki. Philly already drafted a guy to replace Becton and Tyler Steen.
I do remember, Tyler Steen. Yeah, that's a good point. All right,
well, maybe they do. Listen,
hold on a second. We can transition. May I interest you in the 10th pick for Micah Parsons?
Well, it's going to cost a heck of a lot more than that.
I would give that a 1 for 1.
It's going to cost a heck of a lot more than that.
Because the Cowboys are desperate. Yeah. So it's different. Like Myles Garrett, Cleveland's not desperate. Cleveland's like, no, we don't want to trade you. We don't want to trade you. So they're going to ask for a haul. The Cowboys said we're trading Micah.
Well,
they might be a little bit desperate.
What they've said is there have been internal conversations about the possibility of trading Micah Parsons. I don't think that they're realistically trading Micah Parsons. I think that the Chiefs or the Cowboys. First off, Micah wants to be there.
Yeah,
right. He wants to be there.
He does.
And this to me is about probably a contract situation. Are you going to be able to pay him? What's he going to take? Do you put this out there just to let people know, hey, we'd be willing to trade him?
Right. Isn't it? Who's the last? We said it. Who's the last defensive lineman to get paid? Wasn't it a Bosa?
No,
Nick Bosa, yeah. Nick Bosa got $34 million.
Jesus.
Michael's going to get that because we got to pay him 20. His fifth year is 24.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. Michael Parsons, because to me, Myles Garrett, who's 4 years older,
31, yeah,
30. He'll be 30 this year, right?
No, 31.
He's 29. I thought.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. Is he 30 already? Is he 29? I thought he was 29.
You know what? You might be right. Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else, maybe. Yeah,
but you might be thinking of Trey Hendrickson. He's 29. You're right. 29. He'll be 30 this year. If you were going to have to give up something similar to the Khalil Mack trade to get Myles Garrett, who's one of the all-time greatest pass rushers of all time, you're going to have to sell Chicago to get Michael Parsons done. He's not leaving there. Like, the Michael Parsons conversation is interesting. And I think that to me, and even the Myles Garrett conversation, is why I believe you should be looking to go big in this first round. Because of guys like that. Because I could give you 2 first-round picks for Michael Parsons. I could give you a third. I could give you probably talking about throwing a player in there too, right? Like I can give you all of these things to make this work. Boom. Here you go. We got Michael Parsons. Yay. Or I could pick the phone up and say, what's it going to take for me to move up to 5 to get Mason Graham? Who's going to be a game record in the middle? What's it going to take for me to move up? And I'll tell you what, it's going to cost a heck of a lot less than Michael Parsons.
Is it? But is it? Do you think those potential rookies are going to have the impact that Miles Garrett or a Michael Parsons?
I don't think they'll have the impact right away. I think Abdul Carter may be that dude, but he may be the number one.
I want him bad. I want him bad.
He may be the number one overall pick.
I got a man crush on him. I want him bad. I want him bad.
There's nothing wrong with having a little bear claw for a nice draft.
Oh, for that guy,
man, you got a little bear claw.
Meaty there, Drew.
I'll take that because he will transform our defense for like another 8 to 10 years.
I'm with you on that. I do like Mason Graham. Have you watched tape on Mason Graham?
I watched some, but not a lot.
He's not. See, this is the thing. If you go in and looking for sacks, you're not going to get sacks. What you're going to get is him just absolutely disrupting every quarterback's life.
So he's a big pressure guy.
Well, he can get he's forcing everyone else to get the sack.
Yeah.
He's a big, like, you're in the middle, you're no longer in the middle.
I'm just thinking about the pairing of him and Dexter. That's what I keep going back to, is that potential just carnage from the inside. That's the quickest, obvious
Dexter
route
may be the one that ends up getting all the sacks.
Ooh, man, that opens up more lanes for him.
Like if you have Mason Graham and Javon Dexter, Dexter probably gets all the
about
sacks.
A good 9 or 10 for the year. Yep.
Graham probably pushes all the quarterbacks into him. Like it would be disgusting, bro. Like
so he's saying he's like a Tommy Harris.
That's a great yes. That's a great name, because he's not a high. I think his highest sack totals in college is like 3. Let me see, 3.5 sacks this year. He's not a big sack guy. Oh, that's crazy. Small sack guy. But what he is just a relentless monster.
Yeah.
That's a good name too. Damon Dice in here. He said Mason Graham reminds me of Vita Vea.
I think he'd be better. I think he'd be better than Vita. That's a good comp.
That is a good comp.
I think he'd be better than
like
Vita.
Those are the things for me. A Jaylon Carter, kind of guy. Those are the things for me where it's like, if I'm willing to pick up the phone and say, what's it going to cost me to get Myles Garrett? Knowing 110% it's going to cost me multiple firsts, a second down the line, possibly a third, a fifth. I'm picking up the phone and say, what's it going to take for me to move up and get this guy that I think is going to be a defensive stud?
Yeah. I get you.
But it doesn't matter which guy, again, because Max Crosby's a name that I think of that you could make a trade for.
Oh, I like Max. He's crazy. Max. He's crazy.
I love Max.
I like Henderson too.
I love all the names.
He's affordable. Yeah.
But if you're going to make the call, he's affordable because he's the oldest of the bunch. I think he's about to be 32. But if you're going to make the call for those names, why make the call? Why not make the call to go get the dude who, you're going to have to give up the capital for him, but you're paying him way less. You still can build your team for the next 3 years financially well. and you just put yourself in a great position. I think defense in the first round is the way to go for the Chicago Bears. And it may sound crazy with everything offensively that we had an issue with this year.
But based off what you saw in the Super Bowl, that kind of sways you. And I'm leaning that way too. There's a lot of names out here. There's different tiers of names out here that we can go for, whether it be Miles, whether it be Micah, if he just somehow happens to get free, whether it be a Trey or whatever. Like, yeah, there's so many different ways to address defensive end or edge rusher where you can get a talented guy and it could really change like the whole scene of the Chicago Bears. We'll see.
We'll see what ends up happening, man. Let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love as always, man. I think it was a good conversation, some fun, a little back and forth, a little chappity, chop it up. I got a roast in the crock pot at home, so I got to get back to that.
You should have told me that.
Right. When you invite us over.
I'll be following you home tonight.
Right. I need some
Take
vittles.
me home tonight.
Some good vittles tonight. Hey man, I'm an old man.
I said take me home tonight. I didn't say do anything with it. Take me
home. You're digging deeper. You're digging deeper.
Can I come over tonight? Jesus.
It's getting deeper now.
Oh boy. You know what?
I don't like that after that either.
Hey
man, we appreciate y'all for
tuning
in and showing us love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. For Mr. Medium Self, Jordan JC.
Take me home
watch yourself now. And Mr. Drew Better, if you knew better, you do better. Say who better? Nobody, bro. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Better down. One love. Peace.
Scroll said beef is too expensive to share. What world you live in? You always say
market prices. What market are you shopping at?
Hilarious. That's hilarious.